all the people were already in the villages. They would have their little shindig, and then here we would come through right at the end with 89 trucks all lit up with Christmas lights and horns blaring, Jake brakes popping. I mean, you would see grown men and grown women jumping up and down like a kid in a candy store.
The voice you heard there was that of Noah Melton with Small Fleet Big P Express out of Benton Harbor, Michigan, talking about the unadulterated joy in a now 3 years running tradition along the Red Arrow Highway that tracks Lake Michigan's east coast, passing through townships that have fully embraced the Christmas truck convoys that's grown to more than 80 power units this year. I'm Todd Dills, and to take you into the Christmas holiday, we'll hear Overdrive senior editor Matt Cole's conversation with Noah Melton about his and collaborators' efforts around the Red Arrow Christmas Convoy, featuring units dolled up with Christmas lights and plenty in the way of spectacle to set the stage for Christmas festivities there in western Michigan. On the other side of a break, we'll dive into a little bit of Melton's history trucking, then to the fellow truck operator laying the initial groundwork for what would become a big undertaking. Just what is the Red Arrow Convoy today? Future plans, too.
Man, I want to break 100 trucks in the worst way.
Find out how you might help Melton get there after the break.
Winter doesn't wait, and neither should you. Treat now with Howe's Diesel Treat to prevent your fuel from gelling, and keep using it at every fill-up this winter to make sure you're always running strong when the cold sets in. But if you waited too long to treat your fuel and get hit with a winter emergency, Howe's Diesel Lifeline works fast, reliquefying gelled fuel and de-icing frozen filters to get you moving again. Stay prepared with complete winter readiness from Howe's. Prevention and rescue trusted by drivers everywhere, because downtime isn't an option.
You can find more information about Howe's full line of fuel treatments and other lubrication products via HOWES, howesproducts.com. Now, we'll pass off to Matt Cole, whom you'll hear asking the questions here of Noah Melton, trucking with Big P Express, Benton Harbor, Michigan. Here's Melton.
So when I was 16 in high school, I was working at a exotic jerky factory in my local town. And the owner of that place was friends with the owner of this trucking company, and he would always come in with his semi, and he would pick up jerky to give out to customers. It's kind of like just a thank you treat. And I would always ooh and ah over his Kenworth when he would pull in there. Mm-hmm. And we would chit chat back and forth with trucking. My dad was a truck driver his whole life. He tried to steer me away from it. He said I was too smart to be a truck driver. So one day the gentleman, Colin Cowan, he's like, well, why don't you come out to the farm and check my truck out? I was like, all right. So I went out to the farm, and he was in the passenger seat, and he said, get in, let's go. And so he put me in the driver's seat, and we drove around, and he taught me everything I knew about trucking pretty much from that point. And the day I turned 18, I skipped school to go get my CDL and got it at 18 years old. And then I was going to drive for him, but being a small company, their insurance wouldn't cover me until I had some experience. And so I drove for a couple other local companies just inside the state of Michigan until I turned 20. And then when I turned 20, he was able to bring me on because I had 2 years of experience at that point. And so I've been driving for him ever since. He passed away March of 2024 from cancer. And so I still work at the company. His son-in-law took over the business, and I'm his right-hand man now. It's Big P Express. P is in Paul. Growing up, everybody always called him Big Papa. And eventually it transitioned to just, hey, Big P. And when he started the trucking company in, I think, 2009, that was the name he stuck with. And so now we've got 6 trucks, and we've got 4 drivers currently. Mostly flatbed. We've got Conestoga trailers. We haul some kind of CNC machines. We haul a lot of like specialty rods, copper rod, brass that comes from overseas and stuff like that. We just run Chicago, Detroit, basically. It's company equipment, but I've got 2 trucks that are my babies. I've got a 92 Freightliner cab over that Colin bought for me, because I'd always wanted a cab over, and I used to hound him about getting one, and he's like, they're stupid. There's a reason they went away from them. People fall out of them, they get hurt, and I didn't care what he said. I wanted one. And so a friend of ours, his cab over came up for sale, and I showed it to Colin, and he went that night with a check. And so I've had that truck. And then before Colin had passed away, when he first got diagnosed, me and his son-in-law picked out a Peterbilt 389 for him to kind of have as kind of a retirement present, or something to just, easier to drive, not an old truck, something for him to have to kind of work when he wanted to and when he couldn't. As time went on with the chemotherapy treatments and stuff, it just got to be too much. And so at that point, I took over that truck, and I've got both of those that I drive. One of them in the summer, one of them the rest of the year.
Okay. What's the year, make, and model on the other one?
2019 389 Peterbilt. There was a gentleman named Ernest Brown who was local to our area, and he would always try and get convoys going, but they just never really got traction. And 3 years ago, he contacted me about being a part of it. And so the first year, we started on a Monday. It was just going to be 4 or 5 of us. And then by Saturday, we ended up with 45 trucks. And we didn't have police escort, permits. We didn't have anything. And so at the driver's meeting, I told everybody, I'm like, well, it's about a 45-mile route down Red Arrow Highway that we run, and there's several, stoplights and little towns that we go through. And so I told everybody, like, if we stay tight and the light turns red, we'll be all right. But, I guess the police can't get us all, basically. And so the first year we did that, and we'd advertised it a little bit on Facebook, and that was right around the tail end of COVID. And the amount of people that came out in support in the local towns that had signs, "We love you truckers," "Thank you truckers," like, it was a super emotional event, just because, a lot of times truck drivers, we feel like we're just underappreciated. And so to see that kind of support from your local community was amazing. And luckily, Colin, he was pretty sick at this point, but him and his wife were able to come out and watch as we drove by. And, his truck was the first truck in the parade leading the way. And so it was very heartwarming for him to be able to see that, and see that no matter what, he's going to leave a legacy. And then after that first year, my wife and I kind of took it over, and the amount of permits that we ended up having to get from here on out. Each township requires a permit. Each county requires a permit. Any of the state highways that we cross and have to close down the intersections for, they require a permit. And the amount of work that goes into it to get it going now is a lot, but it's worth every minute of it.
What kind of cost goes into getting those permits?
Luckily the permits are free.
Okay, that's great.
My wife's an angel. She handles all the permits. She's been doing all the permitting, all the publishing of getting the ads out and stuff like that, and getting the flyers out. She does all of that on top of raising foster kids and graduating with a master's degree. She does all of that, and she's an angel. But the permits are free. The only real cost that goes into the parade is we provide pizza, we provide hot chocolate, hot cocoa, donuts, and stuff like that for the drivers that attend.
Since that first convoy with 45 trucks 3 years ago, how has the event grown the last couple of years?
First year with the 45 trucks, I would say along the route there might have been maybe a total of 1,000 spectators, but they were mainly like kind of grouped up into certain spots. The second year we advertised more, and we ended up having 72 trucks the second year, and the spectators grew immensely at that point. It was 3,000 or 4,000 at that point. And then this last year we ended up with 89 trucks, and a lot of the local businesses along the routes ended up doing watch parties. And so it drummed up a lot of business for the local companies along the route. And I would say there was probably 6,000 to 7,000 people along the route, and each of the little villages along the route. I mean, we're not in a highly populated area, but along that route, all the little villages ended up having their little local Christmas party on the same night. And so, all the people were already in the villages. They would have their little shindig, and then here we would come through right at the end with 89 trucks all lit up with Christmas lights and horns blaring, Jake brakes popping. I mean, you would see grown men and grown women jumping up and down like a kid in a candy store. I mean, I'm in tears the entire route. I'm an emotional guy to start with, but just to see the amount of people and the smiles that it brings, I mean, I was crying like a baby.
That's awesome. That sounds like an awesome event. From the participating truck drivers, what kind of feedback have you gotten about their experience?
I would say most of them are just shocked at the amount of spectators that come out to watch it and just how laid back and fun the event is. I mean, we don't have an entry fee. We have a little donation box, to help with some of the cost of the pizza and stuff like that. This year we actually had a couple sponsors that donated some things that were raffled off to drivers. Electric leaf blower went to the best decorated truck, and then a gas powered leaf blower went to just a random driver. And then we also had West Michigan International, which is where we start the parade from. They opened up their body shop this year for us and let us use the body shop for the drivers meeting and set up tables and stuff for us to have everybody in there where it was warm so we could all congregate and talk. And they donated some nice chrome hubcaps that were raffled off to a lucky driver. All the drivers, the amount of messages we get from the spectators in our Facebook group. One lady, she has a son who's very autistic, but he loves trucks. And so every year we're always looking out to see if we can spot him, because he is jumping up and down, and she always posts a picture of his smile. And if his smile doesn't break your heart and bring a tear to your eye, you just might be a soulless person, because it's just very heartwarming. And it's one of the few things that you can go on Facebook or anything and see that there's not a single negative comment. Everybody is just beyond ecstatic and extremely smiley, and just there's no bad taste left in anybody's mouth from the event. That's great.
You just completed your third year. Looking ahead to the fourth year and beyond, what are kind of your plans and goals moving forward for the convoy?
Man, I want to break 100 trucks in the worst way. That was kind of my goal for this year, but we fell a little short. But there's always next year and years beyond that. We've talked about trying to set up some sort of a charity or something like that, to where drivers could donate, to a certain thing as they come to the event. But I just don't want anybody to feel obligated to donate anything. I think every truck driver that comes, I mean, they bring their wife and kids and family with them, and they're all having a great time, and I think all of them would be more than willing to donate to something. But we're trying to stay kind of under the line of tax liability, just because the amount of paperwork that goes into that and the headaches that come with it, we kind of want to stay away from. But we're hoping maybe next year we can collaborate with someone that already has maybe a Toys for Tots drive or something like that, to where we could, bring in something like that, to where all the drivers could bring in a toy and donate to that. But just enjoyment's the biggest thing. Just getting the guys out there to enjoy it, because, a lot of truck drivers, we aren't always home for the holidays, and we don't always have a lot of home time to begin with. And so being able to do something like that and have the whole family included, I mean, some of the guys spend a week prior to the parade decorating their truck. Some of the local farmers that aren't running their rig every day. I mean, one of the guys, the entire truck was covered in lights, and then he had a step deck trailer behind it, and he had inflatable pigs that had lights on them. and it looked like the reins of a reindeer going back to a John Deere tractor that was completely lighted, wrapped in lights. And so some of these guys really go all out with their lights, and it's greatly appreciated, but we don't require lights. That's one of the things that I've tried to kind of do, is because I don't want anybody to feel like they got to come here and have their truck sparkling, shining like the day it came off the showroom floor. I mean, this year there were some trucks that didn't even get a chance to get a wash because of how cold it was. We were afraid of everything freezing up. And so, but the parade, we run it at night. We leave out about 6 p.m. and it's already dark by that point. And so the spectators don't get to see all the dirt. The drivers might be thinking about it, but the spectators, they don't care. They're jumping up and down in happiness.
And this year's event was held on December 6th. Do you try to keep it on that first Saturday of December, or does it kind of move around a little bit?
We try to keep it on the same Saturday. The first 2 years were on the second Saturday of the month. This year there was some scheduling conflicts with getting law enforcement out to shut down intersections and stuff like that. So we ended up doing it on the 6th this year. And more than likely, we'll keep it on that date just because of the local towns that do their Christmas parties at the same time. It brings more people out. I mean, there's people that come out with campers, and they'll park their camper in a public, parking lot along the road, and they'll sit in their camper and hang out until we come through. And some people have little campfires out by the road with marshmallows roasting as we come through. The last 2 years, we've actually had a local gentleman shoot off fireworks right as we're coming into town, and so that's pretty cool. We are in Southwest Michigan, basically where Interstate I-94 and US 131 crisscross right in Kalamazoo. We're a little bit west of there is where we start the parade, and we run 45 miles west on Red Arrow Highway. We have a Facebook page called Red Arrow Convoy. There's one that says public, which is for spectators and anybody who just wants to see it. And then we have another one that's a private group that says Red Arrow Convoy Drivers. That would be the one to join if you want to participate. Everybody's welcome. I mean, we had concrete trucks this year. We had bobtails. We had, last year we had a tour bus in it. The local county actually brought out 2 plow trucks this year. So, as long as it's a Class A or B vehicle, we're glad to have you out. We had a couple trash trucks out this year that were wrapped in lights. They smelled good too, so that was nice. But, we welcome everybody. I mean, it's a great time, and it's something that a driver can do that just puts a smile on your face. I mean, the first year we did it coming down the road, I mean, we're blasting our horns as loud as you can. I kept running out of air this year. But, you get some people that didn't know what was going on, and they come walking out of their house like, what in the world is going on out here? And they're out there in their pajamas and a robe, just jumping up and down, watching us go by. And, everybody posts videos of it on YouTube and Facebook and stuff. But the more the merrier. I want to hit 100 trucks. I just hope everybody has a good Christmas this year, and I hope next year's a better year for trucking. Yeah, the last couple of years have definitely been a stretch, but you hold tight and keep your faith with you. You make it through it. This year was kind of an interesting year. We were really hoping with the new administration that there would kind of be a jump in freight movement. We primarily do LTL flatbed. A lot of stuff that comes from overseas, and with the tariffs that went into effect or were touted, if you will, we had a lot of empty days this year from customers scared to order material due to tariffs and stuff like that. So it was a slow year for us. Probably the worst year we've had in 12 years of being in business, but there's always next year. It can't stay bad all the time. You just, the biggest hurt is maintenance and stuff like that. I mean, we had a lot of maintenance costs this year. I mean, every year, but more so this year. But just keep hoping next year's better. It's the cycle of trucking. we all cry about it, but it's always been the same thing. It's feast or famine. You have a couple really, really good years and then a couple really bad years, and it's the ups and downs. You just got to run your business right and hope that next year's better and make it through the hard times and put away during the good times. One of the main ways we've been able to keep going is just having equipment that's paid for.
Yeah.
You know, if your equipment's paid for, I mean, all of our drivers get paid a minimum salary. So if they're sitting at home, you know, that's our expenditures, them. You know, and it keeps your drivers happy and it keeps your drivers working for you. And if you don't have a $4,000 a month truck payment on 10 trucks, you know, you can make it through it.
That's a wrap on this Overdrive Radio edition. Find links to Noah Melton and Company's Red Arrow Convoy pages via the show notes, wherever you're listening, and in the Christmas Eve 2025 post that will house the podcast at overdriveonline.com/overdrive-radio. Podcast is on Spotify and SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts and YouTube, Overdrive's Facebook page, and any listening platform, really. You can leave us a review there if you're enjoying these, and a big thanks in advance for that. As always, big thanks for listening. Overdrive Radio is a production of Overdrive, the voice of the American trucker. It's edited and produced by me, Todd Dills, with the acoustic guitar and other support of trucker songwriter Long Haul Paul Marhofer. The theme is Legend of the Snake Man by Marhofer, featuring the guitar work of Travis, the Snake Man himself, Whammick, Terry Two Socks Richardson on bass, keys by Tisha Mingo, Jim Whitehead, and on drums, Andrew Marshall. The podcast is backed up further by Overdrive's own social media coordinator, Jasmine Campbell, senior editor, Matt Cole, executive editor, Alex Lockey, and video editors, Lawson Russell and Andrew Glenn. Here's hoping you have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you after the break.